Welcome to today's lesson on events. We'll explore how events allow classes to interact with each other. Events allow one class to notify other classes when something happens, for example, a button being clicked or a variable having a certain value. Events work on a publisher-subscriber model. The publisher is the class that the thing happens in, so the button click or the variable having a certain value, and the subscriber is the class that wants to know when something has happened. I'm going to keep everything in one file so you can see it more easily, but the classes should go in separate files. We'll start by creating the publisher, which would be a public class called ValueChecker. We also need to create our event that can be called, so we use the keywords public event, and then the type of it is a nullable event handler, so the question mark is what means it's nullable, and I'm going to call it onValueCorrect, and it's commonplace for your events to start with the word on, but it's not compulsory. We're going to create a method called checkValue, and that's going to be passed a string. And it's going to compare that string with the text correct value here, and then if that is true we want to raise our event, and the way you do that is you have the name of your event, so onValueCorrect, and then question mark dot invoke, and the question mark means make sure that you've got some subscribers before you invoke it, and then the properties you want to pass it are this, which means the current instance of the ValueChecker class that we are using, and for now we'll just pass some empty event arguments, but we'll come on to those a bit more later. We will now create our subscriber class, which I'm going to call ValueReceiver. Which will have a method called subscribe and is passed an instance of the ValueChecker we created earlier. Subscribe is another word for saying start listening to, so we need to listen for the event that we created in the ValueChecker class, and to do that we do ValueChecker dot onValueCorrect, so the name of the event, plus equals the name of the method we would like to call when this event is received. Each event can have as many subscribers as you like, so different parts of your program can respond to the same event in different ways. In this example, we will only have one subscriber. Notice that there are no brackets on the name of the method receiveValue. This is because we are not calling it, just referring to it. We now need to create the receiveValue method, so we'll have private void receiveValue, and because it subscribes to an event, there's two arguments it must have. One of them is a sender with a object, and this is the class that raised the event, and the other one is the event args, which we've got as empty for now. And then the content of this method is not actually going to use those, it's just going to write to the console the value was correct. To demonstrate this working, we will first create an instance of the ValueChecker class and call it ValueChecker. We'll do the same with a ValueReceiver. And then the receiver must subscribe to the publisher, so that's the ValueChecker, using the subscribe method we created. We'll then give the user a prompt by writing to the console give a value, and then we'll assign whatever they type in to the variable called value on line 12. And then we'll use the ValueChecker's checkValue method and pass in that value. If we run the application and paste in correct value here, the conditional check on line 24 will pass, so we'll invoke the event. The ValueReceiver's receiveValue method will then receive that event and write to the console the value was correct. If we pass in something different to correct value here, the if check will fail and we will not raise the event, so we will not get any further output. To unsubscribe from an event, all you do is replace the plus equals from the subscribe with a minus equals. You may want to do this so you only get notified once. If the subscriber no longer needs to know about an event, it should unsubscribe to avoid memory leaks. This all works, but it would be better if we could pass a value with our event. To do this, we can replace the event handler with an event handler of type string, and that's what the angle brackets mean. We can then replace the event args.empty with value in our invoke method. We can also modify our receive value method to take a string instead of event args and update what we're writing to the console to use that value. Like before, if we run the application and pass anything different to correct value here, the conditional will fail, so we will not raise the event and we get no further output. If we run it again, but this time pass in correct value here, the conditional will pass, so the event will get raised, so the receive value will receive our value and write to the console the value was correct value here. In this example we have passed a string, but you could pass anything you like, even your own defined class objects. It's worth noting that events are not thread safe, so if you are using more than one thread, you'll need to be careful or you might get strange behaviour. Thanks for joining us today. Events are a crucial aspect of programming. They are one way to allow classes to communicate. Stay tuned for more lessons. Don't forget to like, subscribe and hit the notification bell for updates. Happy coding!